You're now watching The Franchise on the DML Network.
Welcome into the DML Network and another episode of The Franchise. That's right. First round is over. Draft is over for the Dynasty as we step into the third season here. Shout out to the Super Bowl winner, Mr. Addy 5 with those Saints. So you know we're going to go through this first round here in the Dynasty. Did you reach or did you get a stud here in the first round? We're going to go through all 32 picks. We'll go through them pretty quick. But you know I don't do these shows on my own. First up, it's the OG Chris Murray. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here. Man, we're going to recap this draft. Got a lot of interesting picks to go.
Yeah, definitely some interesting picks. And the two-time Super Bowl winner in the building. What's up, Mr. Tightwork?
Hey, if you don't know, you know. Hey, but it's about the franchise right now.
That's right. That's right. Let's get through these picks. And guys, we know that you can change your team with a first-round pick, whether you trade up, trade back, or stand pat. And we had some guys got some really, really good players, and we'll go through those, including the Super Bowl champ, picks number 5. Craziness. But let's move to the first pick, and it's HBO and those Dallas Cowboys. And apparently HBO didn't think 12 wide receivers on the roster was enough, so he went and drafted him wide receiver number 13. And Tightwork, he goes and gets Joseph Meyer, and this guy is a burner. What'd you like about this kid going at 1?
I didn't like him going at 1, but I like the kid. You know, hey, this can be a franchise changer. He's in the mold of John Ross. You see what John Ross did last year, so I think HBO hoping for the same success.
Yeah, and here's my thing, Tight. I agree. I don't like to pick at 1 because HBO had so many holes he needed to fill on this roster, including when this draft happened, he had 4 offensive linemen total. Not 4 starters, not 4 in one position. He had 4 total offensive linemen. And there were some monster offensive linemen in this draft. And there's guys that would have gave up multiple picks to get to this one spot. But the kid out of Clemson is no joke. 97 speed, 97 acceleration. And Chris Murray, is this a John Ross type wide receiver?
Man, hands down, yes he is. You know, just looking at, his attributes, you just said 97 speed, 97 acceleration. This guy is pretty much going to open up his offensive playbook because you have to have somebody over the top, and this is going to be a guy that you really want to have to double coverage. I'm telling you that right now. So this is allow, I think, HBO to open up his offensive playbook a little bit more and allows him to do a lot of creative things out there in Dallas. But like you mentioned, man, looking at this pick, he's a solid player, but it was so many holes in this team that he could have filled with this number 1 overall pick. And I'm just looking to see if it's going to benefit him or if it's going to hurt him, But he's a good player. I don't knock him going that 1, but I definitely think that he could have at least, like you said, traded this pick back and got multiple different picks to fill some gaps, some holes on his team. But I'm looking to see. I got him week 1, so he definitely will be tested.
Well, it'll be John Ross versus Joseph Meyer in week 1. And here's the thing, though. He needed a linebacker, and wait till y'all see what pick 5 is, because he could have had the greatest linebacker in the draft, roam in the middle in Dallas for the next 10 seasons. But let's move on to the Texans and my homie, Mr. SJ, the co-commish. And he moves up, makes a trade, takes the number 2 spot. And he felt he needed some help in the back end, Chris Murray. And so he goes and gets the youngster out of Wisconsin. You're going to see a lot of Badgers come off the board here very early in this draft. And that's because we breed winners in Wisconsin. That's what we do. And he gets Spencer Scott, the strong safety, who is just a monster at strong safety. This is a big upgrade for SJ. What'd you like about this one, Chris Murray?
Yo, this is the dude, man, that you could put him in multiple places on the defensive side of the ball, man. Whether you send him to blitz, whether you put him in man coverage, or whether he just coming up laying a big hit on somebody. This was a solid pick, I think, from SJ, and for him to jump from, the 20th pick all the way to the second to land this guy, it definitely was a boost to his secondary.
Yeah, and if we gave Cosby Award winners to 2 people, SJ would have took the second award, but unfortunately only one guy can win. And Tightwork, is this a product of, he's got some secondary that's aging, and he needed to get some help in that secondary, especially with some of the high-powered offenses there in the AFC. Is that why he goes out and gets Spencer here?
Yeah, hey, it's a head scratcher for me for what he gave up to move to number 2. And then you go look at his safeties. They're deep, and I guess he's going to run a 4-2-6 with nothing but safeties out there because he got a bunch of squares at safety. And this guy just adds to it because he can play man, his own, and he's fast. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy line up at corner this year. He's a change defense type guy, but I don't know what the price that he paid to go up and get him though.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at SJ's roster, you got some young talent coming up in that secondary, and Spencer's just going to add to it. I think Justin Reed is the heir apparent there at free safety once Tyrann Mathieu goes away. And then you have Spencer Scott will take over Andre Howe's spot once SJ doesn't feel Andre can hold the fort down. SJ is building for the future. And we talk all the time, guys, this is not chess. I mean, it's not checkers. We playing chess here. So sometimes when you make a move, you're thinking 2-3 moves ahead. And while this is the division foe, I think this is a great pick by SJ. And he had to move up and go get that. Let's move on to another guy in the AFC South. It's Darkness and the Titans with that 3rd pick. And we're going to see our first quarterback go off the board. And it's Bennett Claybrooks. Tight work. This was the number 1 rated quarterback on the board. Do you feel this guy deserved that ranking?
Oh, heck yeah. I think this is the best quarterback I've seen in a while. With minus the burning speed, but as far as pure passer, this is the guy. And he's from Florida State. I think we have footage on him showing him just shredding defenses. And he can run. He got the size and everything. This guy should have been a number 1 pick if the Cowboys didn't take a quarterback last year.
Well, the Cowboys took a bum quarterback last year, or the Cowboys is a bum. One of those two. I can never figure it out. And he may not be a bum, because that means something different in Dallas, according to HBO. So, this is the guy. If you needed a quarterback sitting at 3, you had to be excited that he was going to fall here. And Chris Murray, this is a guy with 95 throw power, who's ready to go. He's got 86 agility, and his short, medium, and deep is already in the 80s. Matter of fact, short and medium almost at that 90 plateau as a rookie coming in. Can this guy turn the Tennessee Titans around?
I mean, looking at this quarterback, he's definitely a franchise changer player. But what everybody has to do when they pick up a player is you have to figure out how this guy fits your scheme. That's just simple as that. He could be the best player in the DML, but if he lands to a user that he does not fit their scheme, he could just be pretty much a bust. But I definitely think that he's going to shake things up out there in Tennessee on the offense side of the ball, because just looking at this guy, man, superstar development. Yeah. He's currently ranked right now as a rookie 18th overall quarterback in the league. So the future bright for you. I mean, Darkness just got to figure out how to make that magic work with it. But I definitely think he's going to definitely have a good rookie year out there in Tennessee.
Yeah, great pick by Darkness. All right, let's move on to the other co-commish. It's the Oakland Raiders and the homie Tone Dog. And we get Aaron Manningham, the quarterback out of Florida State. And I really like this kid. Now, that means this is the end of the Derek Carr era in Oakland. The Raiders have officially given up on him. And I expect Manningham to start week 1 here for the Raiders. And Chris Murray, knowing how Tone Dog plays, did he feel like the quarterback was that missing piece? Because he's played very, very well this cycle here in Madden. And just a game here, a game there, from being one of those contenders in the top 4, top 5. Was the quarterback holding him back, Chris Murray?
Watching him play, I don't think the quarterback was holding him back. I think he needed another receiver, in my opinion, because Derek Carr, if you watch him play, he's a solid quarterback. So I don't think the quarterback was holding him back. I just think that he ran out of offensive weapons to throw the ball to. Outside of Amari Cooper, it's really no stud talent out there that actually causes a threat where somebody had to focus in on him. But with this pick right here, you can see what's going on. Father Time is catching up with Derek Carr, and you know he's planning already ahead for the future. So this was a solid pick. You know, he's a great GM/owner, so I already see where he was going at with this pick.
Yeah, and 29 years old, Derek Carr's getting to the end of his career. Got to start thinking of it. And you got a guy with 90 throw power, can throw on the run. You know, he's got 89 break sack. This is a guy that does not get taken down very quickly. 216 pounds, 6'2" quarterback. Pretty good size for a quarterback. So we'll see what the Raiders do with that. But I want to talk a little bit about this next guy. And it's this defending Super Bowl champions. It's Addy 5 and those Saints. And tight work. When you saw Addy 5 move up to the 5th pick, and you already got a roster that's loaded. Matter of fact, Addy 5 last year took a linebacker, I believe in the first round, that's playing middle linebacker for him in Will Clemmings. I'm sorry, in Matt Delgado. A guy that just completely annihilated teams in the NFC. And then you're going to pair him with Will Clemmings. 88 speed, 90 acceleration. I mean, the guy has 84 tackling. He is ready to go day one to secure the middle of the field. Is this just feeding a team that's already stacked? Do you kind of get frustrated as one of those guys, tight work, where you expect to be there in the end, to know that even if you get through the gauntlet over there in the AFC, you still got to find a way to beat a guy like this?
Hey, yeah, you have to, because his offense was always ranked in the top part of the league.
Yeah.
And now you adding studs on defense to stop people. Oh, it's going to be hard, man. And then this guy here, when at the combine you saw him run the 40 jump, he was the best at his position out of all the categories. I was surprised that he fell to 5 to Addy. But I guess he's Jedi mind tricked the Ravens to get this pick or something. I don't know how this happened. I hope the OG can explain, or somebody can explain how he can pull this off and teach me, because I'll tell you a story when you get up to me, because hey, this is incredible.
Now
hats off to Addy.
Yeah, OG. I saw the notes that the bus took down on how to get a good trade. None of those notes apply to this kind of trade. This is a Super Bowl champion that moves up, who's got, like Tight Work said, top 2, top 3 offense. You have probably one of the best linebackers in the draft he drafted last year, who I believe won Rookie of the Year, in Matt Delgado. And now you're going to give him Will Clemmings in the middle, 23-year-old linebacker out of Wisconsin, and you have a 24-year-old linebacker out of SMU paired up together. And sometimes where Addy runs really 2 linebacker sets only. These are the 2 guys holding it down. How do these trades happen? Do players just forget who wins the Super Bowl, and at that point it's just worried about your team? Or is this one of those where the Ravens thought, well, he's in the NFC, I'm not worried about him because I'm not winning anything in the AFC anyway?
It's listen, man. It just be a lot of action going on in them DMs, man. You know, and guys just, you know, I don't think it's not an NFC or AFC thing. NFC or AFC thing. It's just that it be so much like it be draft day, and if you could put something together to make it sound right, you know, sound so good, it's hard for a motherfucker to decline it. They be like, dang, you saying this, you gonna give me this, you gonna give me that? That sounds about right. But in all reality, you losing. And I already knew from when I had the pick that Eddie wanted to lock this pick in, and I just, you know, told Eddie we had to go ahead and get the pick. And next thing I know, he was drafting this monster at 5th. So
hey,
it'd be a lot of action in them DMs, man. You just gotta put something together.
That's
true. Make the person nibble on it and make them believe in what you're presenting to them, and that's it.
Hey, I got something to add to this too.
All right, go ahead.
I just got a text that a lot of people forgot he played strong safety last year for Wisconsin, and he was projected as a 5th round pick. And the Saints told him if he was to move the linebacker, he'll be a top 10. And they got him at 5. Hey,
Will Clemens, here's the thing. He should be putting on a star in Dallas, Texas, and playing for the Cowboys. This is the #1 overall pick. When you have no linebackers except Leighton Vander Esch because you traded away Jalen Smith, this is the guy that should have been in a Cowboy uniform. As much as Joseph Meyer is just a monster at wide receiver, this is a game changer on defense. And we're going to be talking about Will Clemens for an entire cycle going forward, because that's the type of user Addy 5 is. Big hats off to Addy 5 and the Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints. Let's move on, because this next pick means something to the producer here on the franchise, and it's those Atlanta Falcons picking at 6. And we were in the chat, Chris Murray, and I would say that there wasn't like rumblings about this pick, but it was kind of those, I wonder why he took the defensive end here. But I'm here to let you know, when I talk to Dion, and you're going to see some footage, and yes, don't adjust your TV sets. It's another player out of University of Wisconsin who had a top 5 ranked defense in all of college football last year. As you can see why 3 of their defensive players go in the top 6. But you see Bradley Gels just making left tackles look just really bad. 2 steps and he's at the quarterback. A guy that is just a speed rusher, 6'3", 247 pounds. And he's got 83 speed, 86 acceleration at the defensive end. And when I talked to the homie Nasty Noob, he talked about how important getting pressure on the quarterback is here in Madden 19. And that's something that he felt the Falcons struggle with last year. And he needed to upgrade this position. Is this a spot here, Chris Murray, where Dion really thinks if he can get some pressure off the corner and kind of give his linebackers and secondary some breathing time instead of having to guard for 6-7 seconds in coverage, where the Falcons think they can be a threat maybe to those Saints over there in the NFC?
All right. Watching from when the Falcons and the Saints played their very first matchup up until this point, he has adjusted his game, somewhat where he closed the margin a little bit. I'm not gonna say a lot, but a little bit, a tad bit. But this is a guy right here that definitely will help out when he's facing those Saints, because how that offense is ran, you need to get pressure. You need to get pressure, and I think that's what he's playing on. Because the first step is to take your division before you can be thinking about a banner or thinking about the playoff. The first step is to be a force within your division, and I think that's what he's game planning on right now. And this is definitely a solid pick. Because you have to get pressure on the Saints, or he will rip your defense apart. You can't give him 5 to 6 seconds back there, just basically like, oh, I'm gonna make this read. No, I don't want that. Well, that's too easy. All right, I'm gonna throw this for a touchdown. So, this is a good move, I think, for Atlanta.
No doubt. This is a great pick by Nasty Noob and those Atlanta Falcons. All right, guys, we give away 2 awards here on the franchise. So we're going to get a first award away. So, Dion, go ahead and roll that footage.
Now you will get ready for the zim-zam and the babbity-bibbity, and you will take off your clothes like voo and voom, and get ready for the most splendiferous pudding pop you have ever seen.
Yo. Okay, so no, the Patriots did not win the Cosby Award. Schemer, you were the girl laying in the bed. Matty Ice, congratulations to the homie Matty Ice with another Cosby Award to hang on the mantle there at the house. I believe if I'm correct, I think this is Matty's 4th or 5th Cosby Award. As he went ahead and took it from the Schemer. Just crazy. Matty Ice basically moves back, picks up 2 first-round picks, players that were picked in the first round, a corner and a left tackle. Still keeps his first and gives up some future picks. It's just crazy how some of y'all agree to some of these trades. I say that as a former Cosby Award winner last year, but congratulations to the homie Matty Ice. Let's move on to the Patriots. and the Patriots felt he needed some help in that secondary. And that's a good decision for the Patriots. And I like Daniel McLean here. Tight work. Talk about him.
Oh man, he's good. But this piggybacks off the last pick. You have two philosophies. You're gonna build your secondary to build your defense around, or your D-line. He went with the secondary, and this corner comes right in. And he's a monster. He got size, he got the speed, he can cover, and he's quick development. The only weakness on him is that the 88 agility, but that's not really a weakness. So, hey, this was a great pick by the schemer. I wish he wasn't the chick in the bed for it, but hey. Hey.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 83 acceleration for the cornerback, but still a good pick. Going to definitely help that Patriots secondary out. And we won't spend a lot of time on him. Let's move on to the next pick, and it's the homie Flair and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we get another quarterback that's going to go off of the board here. And we get Jonathan Tuthill coming out of Auburn here, Chris Murray. And he has Kirk Cousins on the roster, 32 years old. I think he's really hoping he can get one more year out of Kirk Cousins. But we may see Tuthill start here very, very soon. Not a fan of the quarterback like we've seen in the first two. 87 throw power. Short and medium, not very bad. Pretty good agility. Very nice speed for a quarterback. This is the mobile kid that came out of Auburn. Does this fit Flair's style, though, Chris Murray?
Not at all.
Does Flair have a style, Chris Murray?
Nope. That's what I said. Not at all.
Maybe that's the first question. Shout out to the homie Flair and the Pee Wee football team winning the championship this past weekend, though. Big shout out to those kids. Got their trophy, got their rings. The homie Flair doing a lot of big things for the kids. So we're not going to give you a reach pick here because you do it for the kids most of all. Let's just see how many force wins Flair gets this year there with those Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's move on because we got the Seahawks coming up. And the Seahawks pick another quarterback. And let's talk about him because it's Lynn Albury out of the Ohio State University. And we got some footage of Lynn in the Big Ten here. And this is another mobile quarterback. This is an 89 speed, 86 acceleration quarterback. But he has 88 throw power, still can throw the ball. But is this a guy in Seattle that maybe we're trying to chase that Russell Wilson kind of mold there, tight work, and try and find that next Russell?
I didn't think he thought that he'll be here at this pick because all week he talked about the quarterback from Miami to come team up with his first round pick from last year. So they wanted to get on the same team. But then when he saw this guy fall, he had to take him. He got blinded by the speed. But he can turn out to be a special guy in that Lamar Jackson mode, Michael Vick mode. But hey, we'll see.
Now, I don't really think he thought too highly of this quarterback because he actually drafted another one a couple rounds later out of Penn. But I like Lynn. I think, like Chris Murray talked about, if he's in the right system and you get him playing around the right team, this guy could actually be a benefit to you. And we'll see how Jay works with this guy here in Seattle. 6'3", 250-pound quarterback, going to be as good as Jay is with those Seahawks. Can he get him moving around in that pocket, try and get some of those wide receivers open? But still a good pick for the Seahawks. Let's move on to the Colts. And Marizzi picks at a spot where he felt he really needed some help, which is his offensive line, especially in the division that he's in, Chris Murray, where you got the Jags with that defensive front. You got the Texans with Clowney, with J.J. Watt. Is this isn't the sexy pick we talk about, but when you get a guy like Connor Gentry, just a monster at left tackle, what'd you like about him, Chris?
His strength. That's the number one thing. 94 strength, man. Like, this is going to be a guy that's going to put who's ever on his side that's coming after the quarterback on lock. You know, like I mentioned with this, when he was on the Falcons pick, guys can't get ahead of themselves. The first thing that should be on your to-do list, is to be able to compete within your division. Like you mentioned, he's in a division where he has to go up against a crazy Jacksonville front four, a Houston Texans crazy front four. So he has to build where though he's able to contend in this division. And this left tackle, man, in my opinion, was one of the best O-lines in the draft, and he struck gold with this one.
Yeah, and really had a chance to go in different directions here, but he stuck with the plan. Went and got Connor Gentry, and this is a great pick. This is not a good pick. This is not a decent pick. This is an amazing pick for the Colts because this is a guy that is an anchor already 80 overall in the first round. And you talked about that 94 strength. He's only 22. This guy's going to be around a long time, and he's going to give some trouble to the AFC South. We're gonna have to find a different way to get around him. We may have to blitz on that side. Great pick here by Marizzi and the Colts. All right, let's move on to the Packers. Packers picks next, and we see our first halfback go off the board, Kieron Colbert. All right, tight work. Tell me about Kieron and what you felt about this pick here for the Packers.
He's a monster. He comes in at superstar development, 87 break tackles and 86 strength. Hey, that's crazy for a halfback. Right now, day one, he's the 29th best halfback in the league. Without no training, no practice, anything. He's right now. So, depending on what the Packers organization do, he could be top 10 by the end of the season. Hey, I love this pick.
Yeah, you got 93 carrying. You have 87 trucking on a guy that's got 90 speed at 237 pounds. This is a guy who's going to cause some havoc there in the NFC North. I really like this pick. This was smart because the Packers needed some help. I don't think Ty Montgomery is the answer, and Aaron Jones did not perform well last year. and Kieron really fits that mold of what Green Bay is trying to do there. Good pick up there. All right, let's move on to the next one. And it is the Baltimore Ravens and Darion Graves. I want to say he's a defensive end. This is a linebacker really here that's going to play some defensive end. Chris Murray, talk about Mr. Graves here for Baltimore.
He shouldn't even. He shouldn't even be in a Baltimore uniform. It should be Will Clemens. That's who should be in a Baltimore uniform. But I guess he settled for this. But I definitely think he's going to move him to right and left hand. Because looking at his streak, you really don't want to play. You can't play him at outside linebacker, but he will benefit more if you put him on the D line. He's fast. He got okay finesse moves, and his box setting is right there a little bit too. And he's only 21. With a quick development tree. So I think if you put him at some free chicken being given out, if you put him on the D line and just allow him to get, I want to say 10 or 11 sacks his rookie year, he can be a force to be reckoned with coming future seasons, but it's up to him what he's going to do with him. I definitely think he'll benefit more out there in Baltimore if they place him on the D-line. That's what I would do if I had him.
All right, so this is going to be Expert's first reach pick here, and let me explain to it because Darion is a good player coming out of Tennessee. He's only 21. He does have good attributes: 83 speed, 86 acceleration. But here's why he's a reach pick for me. If you have the 5th overall pick and there are linebackers on the board like Will Clemens, and you're going to pick a linebacker anyway, that's your plan for your organization is I got to pick a linebacker. Why trade the 5th pick? The only reason I can think is he thought Will Clemens, like the rest of us thought, wasn't going to be there at 5. But there was a lot of talent left at pick 5 where he had some holes he could have filled for his roster, and he moved all the way back here to pick at 12. That I really felt Will Clemens, like you talked about, is a huge fit for Baltimore. I'm certainly glad Will Clemens is in the NFC, and I don't have to see him but maybe one time. But yeah, this is my first reach pick, and it has nothing to do with Darion because that is a good linebacker / D end. I'm not going to have him play outside linebacker. His man in zone coverage is horrendous. He has to play defense end for me. But let's move on. The next pick is the Rams. And the Rams are going to also take a left tackle. And we talked about how important this offensive line play is in this Madden. And Armand Mosley, coming out of Tennessee as well. 21 years old, 81 overall, 92 strength. This guy is a statue out there at left tackle, and is going to be very difficult to go around at 321 pounds. He is 6'6", tight work. This is a guy that really solidifies your line when you can get a guy like Mosley here.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I think he's been watching the franchise and listening to you guys, because I haven't seen this many linemen go this early in the draft. And he mortgaged his future last year for this player. And I think he struck gold. Superstar development. Out the gate, he got 82 run block power, 86 pass block power. So for all those power rushes over there in the NFC North, hey, they're going to have problems getting around this guy.
Yeah, and this is a good pick. And we know that Vitamin can draft. He's built teams. We've seen him build teams in 18 and 17. He's been around for a while. Of course, we don't see linemen go as quickly as we've seen because these aren't sexy picks. It's not that wide receiver, running down the field, catching 100 balls in a season. It's not the middle linebacker that's the quarterback of your defense. It's not the quarterback. But these are guys that can change your franchise if you give your quarterback an extra half second to throw the football. So great pick here by the Rams. I expect to see some big things for him. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings and Chris Murray. Here's that guy you talked about. And I don't even know if I'm going to attempt Alexander's last name. McCroskey. This is the quarterback coming out of the U there in Miami. 6'2", 219-pound rookie here. Did this quarterback's attributes, did they disappoint when you saw him, Chris Murray, or was he everything you expected the guy to be? Because this is a guy that several teams looked at to being a top 10 pick, and he falls all the way down here to the Vikings.
Yeah, looking at his attributes, I definitely think that as far as a passer, definitely top 10, definitely. Especially if you look at the quarterback that the Seahawks took and look at the quarterback that Pittsburgh Steelers took. This guy, flat out, from the rip, day one, can come into an offense and he's the guy, has the maturity level to be able to deal with the pressure of the NFL, making that transition from college to the NFL. So I definitely think, he's definitely got his attributes. He's definitely a top 10 quarterback. Compared to the quarterback that went before him, definitely top 10.
Yeah. This is a good pick. This is a really good pick here for the Vikings. As a matter of fact, the Vikings had back-to-back picks. So let's take a look at his second pick here in the first round. And it's Quinn Kaufman. And let me bring someone special in on this one. Someone that gets to see these Vikings twice a year. It's the homie Taz and those Detroit Lions. What's up, Taz?
What's good, Expert? How you doing?
Man, I'm great. Glad to have you jump on the franchise. I wanted to bring you in here and feel welcome to stay for the rest of the show, Taz. But I wanted to definitely bring you in here and talk about these two Vikings picks. He picks the quarterback, and then he picks the quarterback's best friend, which is the center here, in Quinn Kaufman. Were these two big needs for the Vikings as you get to play him twice a year?
Yeah, definitely. Those are huge acquisitions for him. It's going to make a team that was already decent a little bit better. So that center is ridiculous with that 94 strength too. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about two guys that are day one starters. In Kaufman and his quarterback Alexander from the U. These are guys that are going to step in day one. They're going to be best friends in camp, mini camp, OTAs, and they're going to get to know each other very, very well because they're going to be playing in Minnesota for a very long time. And so I expect the Vikings to take those steps up. Do you feel like there was some other holes, though, Taz, that maybe the Vikings could have looked at besides going there at an offensive lineman? You got really one veteran wide receiver, and then you got a bunch of young kids that Adam Thielen is trying to teach how to play wide receiver. And he is really thin at the wide receiver spot. Do you feel like he could have gone in a different direction, or did he just think center and quarterback were just too important to him?
I think he went with the mindset of, like we always say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So, he's trying to shore up that offensive line, get his franchise quarterback early in the cycle. Then that way he can develop them and have them ready by high stakes. Wide receiver, you can find adequate wide receivers, at any time during the cycle. But franchise quarterback, anchor at center for your offensive line, those are two things you want to get done, early and just hold on to them, get them developed and hold on to them. By the time we get to high stakes, those two together, they're going to be ready.
No doubt. Appreciate Taz jumping on. All right, Taz, we're going to ask you to stay for the rest of the show.
Yes, sir.
We'll come back to you and talk about some more players, but let's move on to Expert's next pick, which this pick made me the most upset in the entire draft, and it's C-Rob and those Panthers. And then, I don't know if you could tell, but my voice changed a little bit because I'm pissed off about this pick, because Jackson Nash was supposed to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. He came in for a visit, fell in love with the city, even put an offer in on a house because we thought for sure Jackson was going to fall all the way to pick 30 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Carolina Panthers went up there and snagged my player. And tight work. Talk about Jackson Nash. 21-year-old kid coming out of Oregon. He's an 81 overall already. 91 strength. I mean, this guy is a monster at right guard.
Oh, man. Hey, don't forget about the 77 XL. So when he pulled, now you know why Nuke went and got that defensive end to deal with guys like this. Because this guy is going to change the Panthers organization, everything. I like to build from the line out. So this is the sexy pick to me, the fat guys with the overhang bellies. And I like this.
Yeah, this is a great pick. See, Rob, I just want to let you know, no ill will towards you, but you took my pick. We wanted Jackson Nash. This is a great pick for the Carolina Panthers. All right, let's move on to the next pick. Another pick for the Baltimore Ravens here, and it's E.J. Gray. This is the middle linebacker that I really felt teams were passing on because of some of his combine numbers here. And Chris Murray. Does E.J. Gray, now this is two linebackers here for the Ravens. The Ravens really expected there was talent deep in this draft. And he got two decent linebackers. I mean, the first linebacker I'm putting the defense in, but can E.J. Gray play middle linebacker here in the Dynasty?
He definitely could play. All right, this is the thing about the Baltimore Ravens organization. No matter what linebacker they draft, is not going to sum up to they had a shot at getting the best linebacker in the draft period. Like, it's not going to level up to that. But I think with this pick right here, he has a guy that can't play middle linebacker, but you can place him at outside linebacker. So he has, an 80 zone, 70, already has the 78 awareness and the 77 play recognition. So I definitely think that this is a guy that you will move from middle. It's a lot of free chicken being given out on this show, but
it is. Yeah, it is. All for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I will move him definitely to outside linebacker, and I think that's where he will get top production out of this guy. But he's an alright pick. He's an okay pick, but the reason why it's an okay pick because he had a shot at getting the best linebacker in the draft, and he passed on pretty much.
Yeah, he did. He gave up on it. Let's not waste any more time on the Ravens picks. We've done enough. Next up, KP and the Chiefs. The homie KP, the former Stretch Armstrong Award winner. And we'll get that award out here a little bit later on in the show. But the homie KP, who usually drafts very, very high. I don't know if maybe he had a bar mitzvah or another birthday party that kept him away from trading with people. But He felt he needed a left tackle, and that's exactly what he got. Clifford Turner, left tackle coming out of LSU. Another great offensive line player. It's like anybody that drafted offensive line got a great player here in the first round of the Dynasty draft. Taz, talk about Clifford Turner with that 92 strength.
Man, that dude is a monster. Jeez. I mean, KP, he keeps on winning sometimes. It amazes me. He's a great, scout when it comes to these drafts.
Yep.
We've only seen him make, one or two questionable picks over the cycles, but this kid right here, he's going to make some moves.
Yeah, and if you ask KP, he shouldn't have won a stretch last year, but I'm sure the stretch winner this year will say the same thing. But this is a great pick with Clifford Turner coming out of LSU. Good job to the homie KP. Next up, it's the Bills. Here we go. Another offensive lineman, tight work, and another good pick. Right tackle, Alan Burdine. Good pick here for the Bills. What'd you like about this kid?
He's a star, 21 years old. Hey, this is my kind of draft, man. I seen a bunch of fat, sexy dudes getting picked in the first round. You can't beat that. I might have to go get some things and get away from this, get some tissue or something, because I'm like excited. I'm excited looking at all these fat guys come off the board. Man, what's going on in the Dynasty? Hey, I expecting to see linebackers, DBs. I can't even talk about this guy. I'm so excited right now, man.
Yeah, another great pick here. Another great offensive lineman, Alan Burdine, the kid out of Pittsburgh. Had a good combine, 79 overall. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's going to step in day one. Had 6'6", 333 pounds. this guy, and it says 333, but he's one Krispy Kreme donut away from 340. This is a big kid, and he is going to anchor that Buffalo Bills line, which he truly needs. All right, next up, the homie Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to the homie Matty Ice, winning your fourth or fifth, I think it's his fifth Cosby Award with the trade that he had with the Patriots. And so he's still here at pick 20. And he goes out and gets a defensive end in Mike Steeples coming out of Clemson. And this is a guy that loves to get after the quarterback. And Chris Murray, we know what kind of user Matty Ice is, where he kind of relies on that defense to keep him in ball games. And is Mike Steeples one of those guys that's going to help him?
Definitely. He's a guy that is going to be, like you said, probably 1 or 2 steps away from the quarterback at all times, And with that defensive line aging, like he showed his GM/owner skills that he's planning ahead for the future. And I think that he struck gold with this pick also.
Yeah, another good pick by the homie Matty Ice, who always seems to be picking, top echelon guys. And he did this yesterday with a lot of distractions at the house. And a lot of distractions in the chat because we was giving Matty Ice a hard time. But he stuck with the game plan, traded back, and got his guy that he wanted. The true sign of a great GM here in the Dynasty. Know what you want and know his value. And he gets Mike Steeples there at 20. All right, moving on to 21. It's the Bengals. And I'm going to tell you right now, I got to play the Bengals the first week in the preseason. And VJ Veltung is the real deal. It was difficult getting pressure. It was difficult to try and find a way to get around him. And here's my thing. You see a lot of these offensive linemen, I think as we start seeing, the way that this league is starting to go, and I called him an offensive lineman. This is a defensive lineman. We see the way that this league is going, and we saw Nasty Newt do the same thing, where you got to get pressure, and you better get it really, really quick in this league because wide receivers are finding open spots. Quarterbacks are throwing. I mean, Chris Murray threw for with a 69 rated quarterback, threw for 85,000 yards to John Ross last year. The only way he can do that is if he has time in the pocket. So you have to find a way to stop him from having all that time. And so, Taz, he goes out and gets VJ coming out of Ole Miss. And this is one of those guys where you start looking, and if you remember the Hulk that Nasty Noob had last year, this is a guy that kind of reminds me of that, because I could be wrong, but I think he had 2 sacks versus Dak Prescott, where we felt we had time to throw the ball, and we look up and we're picking ourselves up off the ground. Is this that mode that guys are starting to go to, where you better find a way to get to quarterback and do it quickly in this league, or you're going to get torched by some of these quarterbacks?
Oh, definitely. I think it's the way the game is starting to play. It's just, it seems like mediocre offensive lines are giving the quarterback plenty of time. But when you go out and you get a guy that's 6'7", 303 and got 87 strength with 80 block shed already, then that's a game changer. That's helping those defensive ends do what they need to do. He's sealing up the middle, getting some interior pressure, and those defensive ends, the double teams are coming off of them and going towards VJ.
Yeah, and not just that, but this guy's keeping offensive linemen off of those linebackers and letting those guys roam free. This is a great pick here by the Cincinnati Bengals. And we haven't had too many reach picks here in the first round. Maybe we'll get to some of those later on in the draft. But let's move on to pick 22. It's another pick by the Rams. And he goes and gets another offensive lineman. He got Armand Mosley first. And then he gets Richie Monty, another young kid, 22 years old, 90 strength, step in day one, and he basically has the left side of his line sewed up for the next 8-9 seasons here in the Dynasty. And these 2 guys are going to be around for high stakes and tight work. when you have the offensive line set in stone in year 3, does that kind of take the pressure off you as you start looking at now I need to start adding those offensive weapons?
Hey, give me a second, man. I'm almost done. Oh yeah, and going against the Niners last year, and the struggles he had with his old line.
Yeah.
Hey, he went out and fixed it, man. With these 2 young guys, then you add Gurley and the rest of his team. I think he's building something special. And he's building it from the line out, which is a smart thing to do. I think these guys been paying attention to you on this franchise show. This was the smartest draft I ever seen in the Madden cycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not too many reach picks here, and that's crazy because, at this point we've seen 6, 7, 8 of them already.
Yeah.
And we're about to get to pick 23, and I've minus the Ravens taking a linebacker when he had a chance to get Will Clemmings. He took good players. And same thing with the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't need another wide receiver, but you can't fault him for taking a guy with 97 speed, 97 acceleration. I mean, that's just a game changer at wide receiver. So, minus those 2 couple users, really, really good picks throughout. And let's keep that going, because next up is the Co-Commish and the Oakland Raiders. And Deontay Faison. All right, Chris Murray, talk about the halfback coming out of the University of Texas.
Yeah, this is, ever since Marshawn Lynch left, but this, I believe this was the CPU pick, right? When he had a draft board set up.
He had a draft board set up. Yeah.
This is another, owner/GM that's looking come hostage, and he's planning ahead, like you said, it's chess, and he understand that. So by him going out getting a young running back, then he can move, come hostage, this guy's gonna be a beast. I'm telling you right now. 92 speed, 87 acceleration, 91, and he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 200+ pound running back. 85 spin move, 85 elusiveness. He's got 90 carrying already as a rookie coming out of Texas. This is a good pick. Don't let that 87 acceleration fool you. He does have 92 speed, and he has 91 agility out the box, ready to go. This is a good pick.
Well, one thing about this man, what I'm noticing, you don't even got to worry about the speed and acceleration because they throwing out upgrades Like it's free giveaways. Like I claim them on the day. So
Yeah, they are.
they definitely increasing the speed and acceleration. So I wouldn't even pay attention to that. This dude's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
This is a good pick. Another good pick by the Oakland Raiders. All right, let's move on because the Super Bowl champs had 2 first-round picks. Next, I'm sorry. I don't want to skip JB and the Broncos. Let's go to JB and the Broncos. And Taz, I'm gonna let you talk about this one here. It's Marquise Snell. This is the strong safety playing for the Broncos now. What'd you like about this kid? Or maybe you didn't like this kid.
Marquise Snell. He's a star. 6 foot 208 star development. His zone coverage is a little low at 73 starting out. He got 78 man, 87 speed, 87 acceleration. But just like Chris Murray just said, hey, the way they handing out upgrades with that star development, as long as he's fitting his scheme, man, all that's just going to be erased over the next season or two. And we expect to hear big things, about Marquise Snell.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You don't need a 93, 94 speed strong safety. This is a guy that you're going to bring in the box. He's got 80 tackling. He's got 76 pursuit. He's got 78 man coverage. He's going to get matched up on a tight end, and he's going to be able to run around the field on your tight end. And this is a guy that's, when he hits you, you're going to know that he hits you. This is a guy that they love to bring down the box there in Nebraska for the Cornhuskers, and I'm pretty sure the Denver Broncos are going to do the same thing. I felt that there was a couple strong safeties in the draft here that might have been a little bit better, but Marquise Snell had a great combine, was rated very, very high on multiple draft boards, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were looking at Snell when our guard went off the board there to Carolina, of seeing if Snell could make it in. But maybe there was some spots on this roster that I felt he could have upgraded, and especially on the offensive line where he's getting very, very old in certain spots. But still, a good pick here by the Broncos. All right, now let's move on to the Super Bowl champion Saints, because he did have 2 picks. And here's another offensive lineman. And Henry Swede is a guy that Addy 5 loved from the start. Maybe he didn't think he'd last all this way. But tight work. Are you in love with Henry Swede like you are with the rest of them?
Oh yeah. I like it. He's a different type of guy. He's not as fat as I like. He need a little bit more rump. But hey, he's nice. The only question mark is his strength, but he's a fast and athletic lineman. I think that's what Addy needs. He don't want the guys that's gonna bowl you over. He just want the guys that are gonna get in position and hook you off. And he got everything you need, and to get him this late, I think he's a steal.
Yeah, especially when you start looking at his run block and pass block already in the 80s. And this is a guy that he's going to get out on the edge, and he's going to have this guy lead blocking. He's got 83 lead block already. He's got pass block finesse at 83. His impact blocking is already at 85. This is a good pick this deep in the draft here at 25 to a team that's already stacked on the offensive side of the ball. And Swede's not even going to have to step in there day one and take over there at right guard, because he still has Warford there. That's been kind of holding it down. So we'll see what Addy 5 does with his pick, but still a good pick for the Super Bowl champs. Next up, it's the Chargers. And the Chargers felt he needed a quarterback, and so he goes and gets Kevin Beasel. And Taz, talk to me about Kevin. Is this the quarterback of the future there for the Chargers?
He was done with Phillip Rivers. he wanted him to retire, but I guess he released him, or he finished out his contract or something. This kid, he has 89 throw power, and his mid and short accuracies are on fire with 87 and 85, 77 deep accuracy. This kid is definitely going to take Andy Force deep into the playoffs once again. Now, the only question mark, he's 6'1". So he's not as tall, but you know, Andy runs a West Coast scheme. This is a West Coast quarterback, you know, prototypical West Coast quarterback, you know, a la Drew Brees. So yeah, definitely great pick.
87 throw on the run, 86 play action, 83 throw under pressure. And this is just a kid that's going to step in, because you're right. He talked about Phillip Rivers was done one way or the other. He was not coming back. My one thing that I would be afraid of for Kevin is his paranoid sense of pressure in the pocket, a trait that is very, very difficult to work around. But we'll see how he works for Andy Force. Andy Force does have a banner here in Madden 19 as he won the season where your stick skills were king. So we'll see what he can do with this, because Phillip Rivers is gone, and Kevin and Brock Osweiler are going to take the quarterback duties. And if you know anything about Brock Osweiler, you don't want him taking snaps under center. You'd rather have him holding the clipboard over there on the sidelines. So let's move on. Pick 27 means something to the crew here because it's the Miami Dolphins. All right. Tight work. I saved this one for you. Garrett Gibson. Talk to me about him.
Man, hey, we're lucky to have him. Hey, I have a story to tell. Before the draft, we needed two needs, a quarterback and a safety. I tried to trade everything I had, even the kitchen sink. Everybody said no, so we signed Russell Wilson. And then we tried again during the draft. 3 firsts, everything. And this guy dropped to us. I think a lot of GMs took him off their board because they heard he was in love with Instagram models. But, hey, but we welcome him down here in Miami. Hey, he's going to come in and start day one. You know, he got the hit power and the size that we like at 84, the speed at 88. We're going to work all this year to get his zone up. His zone's not where it needs to be for a dynasty starting strong safety, but we'll get there. We like the potential with this kid. And we're lucky. Thanks to all 26 other guys for picking your needs and not the sexy pick, because, well, he's not that sexy, he's too skinny, but, you know, we like him.
Yeah, and that's all that matters, as long as you like him. But it's definitely a good pick. I like the Garrett Gibson here. Good pick up there at pick 27. All right, let's move on to pick 28. Couple more picks here left. Next up is the Cardinals. Another big, huge fat kid is going to go off the board here. And Mr. Joseph Knapp coming out of BU, Miami University. And Chris Murray, the kid's not known for his strength, only at 81, but he's already got 80 pass block. He's got 79 run block. He's got 81 pass block power. He's got 85 pass block finesse. He's got 78 awareness already. And this is a kid that as an offensive lineman has 89 stamina. He's not going to get tired. And he's got pretty decent speed, especially being 300 pounds at 21 years old. Did you like Joseph Knapp here going at 28?
Yeah, going, you know, at 28, it's pretty much early. That's pretty much an early second, if you want to say. Yeah, for him to get picked at 28, I think, yeah, this is a solid pick for the Cardinals. He's a guy that's going to be a workhorse. You know, he's going to be out there. He's going to put 100% effort in every single play with that high stamina. So I think it's a solid pick for him. You know, he's only 21, so he definitely got time to develop. It was an all right pick for it to be 20. For it to be, what, 28th? Yeah, that's all right pick.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to pick 29. One of my favorite picks here in the draft. Mr. Sweets 99 in those 49ers. And he gets Devin Carey coming out of Buffalo. And this is a guy that spent his entire college career in the backfield. 82 speed, 83 acceleration, 84 finesse moves at defensive end. Taz, this is a guy that you got to know where he's at all times, and you got to maybe chip him with the running back or your tight end and get him farther away from your quarterback, because if not, he's going to harass whoever you got throwing the ball every single Sunday.
No doubt. He coming out of Buffalo, right? Didn't another pretty decent rusher come out of Buffalo? Somebody named like Mac or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this kid, you know, he's going to definitely model himself after after Big Mac. And I think he can do it. He's in the right system out there with Sweets. And yeah, I can't wait to see what this guy does.
Yeah, good pick here by Sweets at pick 29. All right, next up, pick 30. And it's my Jaguars. And we needed some offensive linemen as we got some age and some guys that we let go in free agency. And so Donovan Lamar fell all the way to pick 30. And this is a guy that's going to step in day one. But tight work, talk to me about Donovan Lamar coming out of Penn.
Hey, this guy, he's fat. You know, I like him. Hey, and this is a good building block to keep this Jacksonville Jaguars teams where they are. You know, because you got the running back already, you got your quarterback, and the only thing you need is those road graders to open up holes and give your quarterback time. It showed this year. You only lost one game, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And with this guy right here, I think he keeps the trend going. He already got 79 pass block power, 81 run block power. So I can see that power game still living in Jacksonville with this man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, time to give away the second award. Before we do that, Dion, roll that footage.
Breaking news. Today, unpredictable events have occurred across the globe. Who has come to save the day for humanity? Who is this mysterious, mighty hero? Stretch Armstrong. Your stretchable superhero. Stretch him 4 times his size. He becomes bigger than a building. Tie him into a knot. He always goes back to his original shape. Stretch him again and again. Stretch Armstrong. The return only from character. Stretch Armstrong.
All right, guys, the Stretch Armstrong Award winner for the second draft here in the Dynasty. Yeah, it's Mr. Rich 215 and those New York Jets. And it's Felix Porcher. And to be the stretch winner, you got to pick a guy that has no business being in the first round. Last year, it was another wide receiver that went to the Chiefs. This year, it's Mr. Porcher coming out of University of Louisiana, Monroe. 85 speed, 84 acceleration. Now, tight work. Talk to me. Why is Felix the stretch in your eyes?
85 speed, 84 for a receiver, and 73 deep. You know, you got you're a big body, and you can only run slants and outs.
Yeah,
he's a big tight end that got. I don't know why they at the combine they moved him from tight end to receiver.
Well, here's the thing. He's a tight end. Should have been a tight end his whole life, but his mom told him he was more special than that he could do whatever he wanted to do. So he played wide receiver, which is just crazy to me because this is a tight end. This is a tight end playing wide receiver is what this is.
Yeah, I heard he lost 20 pounds for the combine, showed that he can play receiver. It didn't help his speed at all, though.
No, it certainly didn't. But here's the great thing. And you know what, Rich? Just love the fact that you are the Stretch Armstrong winner. Take it with pride. Change your name in the chat. Do whatever you need to do. Argue the point. It'll never go away. You are the Stretch Armstrong Award winner. And that's just how it's going to be. But you have a chance to prove us wrong. Maybe Felix balls out this year and he catches, 26 balls instead of the 23 we predict him to catch at 85 speed. So, just prove us wrong. We know the homie Rich 215 got talent. And at wide receiver, he'll make 46 adjustments to get him in the right route before he snaps the ball. So I expect Felix to play a role in this offense. But I still think the Jets have better wide receivers on the roster than him. But let's not spend too much time on that pick. I think we got one more pick on the board at pick 32. I believe the Browns had the last pick. And we're going to get to the Browns pick here at pick 32. And we're going to let Chris Murray talk about it because you had the last pick in the draft. You really had the first pick in the second round here. And you got Keith Bradley. Talk to me, Chris Murray. This guy is pretty nice at 32.
Yeah, pretty much we trying to plug. It's early hands for the season, so we just trying to plug some guys in, see what works for us, and we need help in the secondary. So this was the guy that fell to us. Well, I ain't gonna say he fell to us. Pretty much, we interviewed late, had him visit us late, and he just, stood out to us. And we felt that we give him a shot. So hopefully, he can come out and ball out for us this year. But you know how that goes. If he doesn't, he getting cut, youngin.
No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure at all.
I heard there was some guys that got a call on the draft that they called him, said, we're going to draft you, but don't keep the jersey and the hat because we're not keeping you. So, and sometimes there's just players like that in the draft where you the best available, but you shouldn't even been drafted because nobody else out there is getting drafted either. So, but this is a good pick here at 32 for the OG Chris Murray. We'll see, can he help that secondary? Because they needed some help there in Cleveland this year after that horrendous year they had last year. And I know Chris Murray holds himself to a higher standard. He wants to have a better year and see himself in the playoffs. And I'm going to throw it out there. I think Chris Murray wins that division this year. I'm calling it. Chris Murray, don't let me down. The Browns win that division and take over the number 1 spot. I'm calling it right now. All right, guys. Those are the 32 picks. We try to keep you in here less than an hour. You know how it is, though. When you get the fellas in the room, we start talking picks and players. It usually lasts too long. But let me go around the room and just thank everybody for stopping by. Of course, the OG Chris Murray. Always a pleasure when we get to do shows together. You will see Expert on Walk the Line at some point this year giving out picks. And y'all be on the lookout for the homie Chris Murray show as he picks who wins, who loses, and who's in the crap bowl every single week. Chris Murray, anything for the Dynasty before we get out of here?
You can kick off at 8 o'clock, man. Let's get it.
No doubt. The 2-time champ, Mr. Tight Work himself, and we found out today he is in love with everything that is fat. So, Tight Work. Anything for the Dynasty before we get out of here?
Hey, good luck, everybody. You know now. If you didn't know, you know now. Hey, so let's get it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. And my favorite user here in the Dynasty, none other than the homie Taz. All right, Taz, what you got for the Dynasty before we roll out of here?
Just wishing everybody luck this season, except for if you play the Lions. Expert, we meet, what you said, week 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I'm not going to wish you luck then. But,
okay.
Before and after that, rock on.
No doubt. I'm going to try and break the scoreboard to see how many points I can put up versus Taz in those Detroit Lions. All right, guys. On behalf of the producer, the myth, the legend himself, Nasty Nuke, it's your boy Expert. This is the DML Network, and this has been the latest episode of The Franchise, and we out.
The Dynasty Madden League grind in 365.